Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? You should check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Pictorum Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. Instead of a boring old tie, get him a historic baseball photo taken by Henry High Sandham at the historic Polo Grounds Stadium in New York City during the 1894 Temple Cup. Or, if he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL poster. These are so good looking that you'll be amazed how they turn out. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order.
In an earlier episode, we started talking about the history of the baseball uniform jersey, and the 19th century is where it all started. Well, now we continue our journey through the 20th century as we have that quest to learn more and more about the baseball uniform, and we want to share it with you. And all this information comes up in just a moment. Hi, my name's Darren Hayes, and I know you've heard me on the Pigskin Dispatch talking about football history for years. Well, now I'm on a new mission, a quest to find sports history in other sports as well as football by learning through the jerseys and the apparel and the gear that the players wore and the franchises supplied their teams. It's an educational trip, and I'm taking you with me day by day, player by player, uniform by uniform. The Sports Jersey Dispatch.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my sports history friends. This is Darren Hayes of the Sports Jersey Dispatch, and welcome once again to the Pigpen, your place for sports history through the uniforms and gear that the competitors wore. In an earlier episode, we talked about the uniform history of the game of baseball, and it started off in the 19th century. Well, now we're moving on to the 20th century baseball uniforms. Because baseball is such a truly unique and innovative sport, the game is so filled with numbers and statistics, along with the legendary athletes that we've done remarkable things throughout the ages with these numbers. And we look at the early baseball uniform jersey story arc of the 1800s in the preceding post. However, we now turn our attention to the 20th century uniforms of the diamond. The Baseball Hall of Fame website is a tremendous resource for the history of the baseball shirt, so we continue to reference their awesome findings in this post as well. And first, we need to mention that almost all baseball jerseys of the 19th century had collars attached to them in some sort of fashion. In 1906, the first uni without a collar appeared officially in the annals of history when the New York Giants donned them on that field that year. The 1913 Chicago White Sox go down in history as the final team to enter the field with a collared option on their game attire. We fast forward to the 1930s season, and the first sewn-in zipper made its way to professional hardball jersey, and the Chicago Cubs were the inaugural team to replace the buttons with the very efficient zipper. It was originally patented in 1891, but it took 4 decades to appear on the diamond. However, this quick securing device eventually saw its demise in baseball wear when the Philadelphia Phillies were the last to use it in their playing getup in 1986. The comfort of the players underwent a big transformation in the 1940s. The traditional wool jerseys of the past eras were finally starting to see replacement by newer and lighter materials around the time of World War II. Wool is extremely warm and can get, quite frankly, itchy when one perspires. That's not a good recipe for a game that plays a major portion of its schedule during the summer months. An experience with other materials proceeded, but it wasn't until 1971 when the Pittsburgh Pirates revolutionized baseball jerseys by wearing a durable, double-knit uniform. All other teams quickly followed suit, and today's double-knit synthetics are very commonplace in all uniforms. Other baseball fashions came and went in the 1900s. Pullover shirts and vests, and even sleeveless jerseys made appearances at times. Complementary accessories were provided by some clubs, including pockets, and earlier mentioned bow ties and detachable sleeves even made an appearance once upon a time. Perhaps the biggest fashion statement of the baseball jersey was the big, bold horizontal stripes of the Houston Astros from 1975 through the 1986 season. The pullover-style jersey of the Houston teams in that era were worn both at home and in road games, and they featured a solid block of red, orange, and yellow stripes from the chest on down to the player's midsection, and have finally been dubbed as the Tequila Sunrise design after the look of the name of the same cocktail. And, those were just such interesting get-ups that they wore. Truly 1970s flair. And of course, when you're playing in a place at that time called the Astrodome, you needed some kind of space stage and something that really set you off apart. Well, those big bold jerseys with those gigantic stripes, the Tequila Sunrise, really definitely made a statement, and they're still remembered quite fondly 40, 50 years later. Well, today's look of most teams pays tribute to the jersey of the past in appearance, but the materials and the way they're sewn up are altogether different. And, a lot of people are still going with those, the button downs, which is my favorite style of uniform. Just the big V with the button down on her, undershirt worn underneath it. In the cold weather, you can put the turtleneck on, the long sleeves, and in the summertime, hey, you can just wear a t-shirt and wear it. But just some great uniforms there. I also like the pullovers of the 1970s. I think those are kind of really fashionable and sleek. I in particular think of those Montreal Expo jerseys of the 1970s. I thought those looked extremely comfortable. Not that I'm an Expos fan, but hey, they looked really, really nice on the guys that wore them. Very athletic cut and everything. So that is basically the history of the baseball jersey. And we're going to get into some more here in coming weeks, going to the caps and maybe the stockings and stirrups and that kind of such. We'll get into more of that over baseball history. But we're going to continue talking about these great teams, both in baseball. We'll also look at the other sports, football, hockey, and basketball, with their uniform histories and some of the great teams and how they got their names and how they wore their uniforms throughout history. And it's all coming up in future episodes here on a Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast. So stay tuned, and we appreciate you listening today and hope that you'll come back the next time for some more great history. Till that time, everybody, have a great sports history day. Sorry, but my pitching coach just called timeout and he's coming out to the mound. I think I'm going to get yanked for a reliever. We'll see you back tomorrow for some more great sports history on Sports Jersey Dispatch Podcast. We invite you to check out our websites, jerseydispatch.com and pigskindispatch.com. Not only see the daily sports history, but to experience the preservation of great events and people that play the games. Find us on Pigskin Dispatch. It's also on social media outlets of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel. You get all your daily sports history. Pigskin Dispatch is happy to be associated with the Sports History Network, the sports headquarters of yesteryear, found at sportshistorynetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
At the Sports History Network, we're all about sports yesteryear, and so we're so pleased to introduce you to Row One, an online memorabilia gallery and shop that brings you sports history to life anywhere. The Row One gallery includes over 5,200 gorgeously reproduced prints of team posters, game program covers, game tickets, advertisements, and more in baseball, pro and college football, pro and college basketball, and more. And any gallery item may be printed in a variety of sizes on wood, metal, canvas, acrylic, or poster paper. And in Row One shop, check out the thousands more of unique items with a retro and historical designs dating back to 1876, including t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, phone cases, mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com, ROW1, for access to the full Row One catalog and for gallery prints and gift items, plus get a 15% discount off all prints on the Row One Pictorium Gallery with coupon code SHN15. Follow the link on the show notes.